Alright guys, today we're going to talk about the extra English.lang file that you find in most custom stories, pretty much all of them. And that is a file that contains all of the text that is appearing in your game, whether it be a key description or a note or just a sign or a message that appears anywhere, really. Any text that is actually appearing in the game itself is pretty much done through the extra English.lang. And if you do not understand how that works, how that file is set up and how to use it properly, then perhaps this video will help you out, because I'm going to be explaining exactly what you need to do in order to achieve the different things that you probably want in your stories. So of course this file was pretty confusing to me in the beginning, but as soon as you really understand how it works, it's not that tricky when you get to know it. So as soon as you understand how it works, it should be pretty straightforward to know like everything you will need to do. You don't really need to look up anything. You will just know, because it's not very difficult. It's just it takes a little know-how to. So anyways, right here I have set up a few things in a little map that I'm going to be using as an example of different things we can use the extra English for. What I'm going to be using here is I'm going to add a key name and description on here, and I'm also going to add a note here and a sign area on this thing. I'm going to add a locked message, a look message, and a key use on the door message, as well as a memento message. And all of these are many different types of text that appears in the game, but they're all done through the same file. So do not focus on how I'm actually scripting these things to work, because I have plenty of videos explaining exactly what I'm doing right here, but I'm going to be focusing on the extra English.lang in this video. So that is of course the goal of this video, is to, if you do not know exactly how to use that, then this will probably help you, I hope. Anyways, first of all, if you do not have this file, we're probably gonna have to make it, unless you want to download my example file that I have in my description. You can download that and use that as a template of sorts. I have made it a little more easy to read, I suppose, a little easier to read. But anyways, I'm going to be creating one from scratch as well in this video, so that you can see how to do that yourself if that's the way you prefer to do it. Alright, so I'm gonna open my Amnesia root folder right here. This is where all the editors and story, everything is. So I'm gonna go to my custom story folder right here, custom story, and here I have extra English.lang. So let's say we didn't have this file. I'm gonna move it away. Let's say we didn't have the file. Now I'm going to assume that you have at least some files here, and if you don't, you can always download them from me if you want to do that. The picture and the custom story settings are required, and of course a map file to load. So I've already set that up. But anyways, let's say if you do not have that file, or if that file is pretty much just empty for you, then we can create one. Now this video is done on a Mac, so if you are using a Windows computer, you can use Notepad. Probably Notepad++, that should be a better alternative, but I have not actually tried it with it, but Notepad works fine. So basically in Notepad you just make a new file and save it as all files with the extension .lang. In Mac you do something very similar, except you use TextEdit, and TextEdit should come with all Macs, at least the recent ones. I don't know when they added this, but it should be a while ago. First of all, if you're using TextEdit, you want to go on Format, make plain text, or else it will be like a rich text with all this formatting and everything like that. So this will just clean it up. Now all you have to do right now is just to save the file, and you want to call it extra English.lang. .lang right there. Okay. That was not even. There we go. Okay, extra English.lang. And I'm going to be saving it on the desktop just for easy access, and so just keep this as it is. And if you are using a Windows computer, you can just make sure you check off all files, or else it will be saved as lang.txt, and you don't want that. So save that file and use lang instead of text, and already exists. Actually I probably don't want to replace this. Let me just move it away. Alright, so now I have saved this file on my desktop, and it's just a very blank file right now, 0 kilobytes, as you can see. Very simple file. I'm gonna put it up right here next to my story, and although it looks a little different visually than the other one that I had right here, let me just move that back for example. So it looks a bit different, but that was because this one was created a little differently, but they are basically the same file, because I don't know, the icon is just a little strange. But this is just a plain icon, as you can see. So if you do not have like a first option opening it with TextEdit or any preferred text editor, you probably want to make sure it does that. So just open it with TextEdit and it should be blank, as you probably didn't write anything. Now we're going to have to start off with a few things to make this work. Now first of all, you're going to need the diamond brackets, and if you don't know what the diamond brackets are, they're basically just a triangle with a missing line. They look like this. These are diamond brackets. They should be located in like the bottom left corner of your keyboard or something like that. I don't know, depends on the keyboard, but on mine it is. And inside those diamond brackets, you want to type language in uppercase. And then on the next line, you want to do the same thing. You could pretty much just copy it and type /language. And basically what this does right here is that it just tells the file, or the engine reading the file, that this is all part of the language category or script or whatever in the game itself. So this is just required to make this file work. And in between is where you put all the other things. Now in here you put the categories and the entries. The categories, if you've been using the Extra English Lang, you probably know what the categories are. And the entries, of course, you're going to need a category for each entry. Each entry needs to be in a category to be able to work. And it also does make it a lot more organized in your file, so it's easier to read and look for your things. Although if you are just using a wall of text, it could still be a little difficult. So that's why we could do some cleaning up later. Because this file is likely going to be kind of large, especially if you write a lot of notes. Now, first of all, I'm going to tab so it's more structured, you know, tabs up so it indents everything. I'm going to do another square brackets, or no, diamond brackets. And inside here, we're going to write category. Let's see, category, I believe it was category uppercase, and then name with only N uppercase, equals quote quote, and inside here you want to write whatever category you want. And then on the next line, I'm going to do tab here as well, you want to do /category like that. And basically it's similar to language, except this time we're not defining the file. Language is only happening once in this file, and category can happen as many times as you want. But inside the quotes, you want to write the name of the category. The name could really be anything, but there are a few categories that need to have a specific name to be able to work, because they're hard-coded into the game, so that you can't exactly change them. But if you're making your own categories, you can of course name them whatever you want. Now, first of all, we're probably going to want the custom story main. I believe that was the one. If this was not the one, I'll look that up. But I believe that was the name of the category that you are required to have if you want a description on the main menu of your story. So when you click on custom stories in the main menu, you can click on the story, and before you click play, there'll be a little description for it. Now this category needs to be named something like this. But this is not exactly the text. Where's the text? The text is going to appear in an entry within the category. So I'm going to do tab twice to make it look better. And inside here, we're going to do diamond brackets again and write entry with only E capital and name N capital equals quote quote. Very similar to the category, except it's entry this time. And instead of doing it on a new line, I'm just going to do /entry directly behind it. So /entry like that. And but it's kind of the same as if you were to put it on a separate line. But usually these come just right after, because then you can just use one line for it. It usually looks a little better. Anyways, inside the name here, this is where you want the name of the entry. This is basically the alias or variable name representing the text in the game. So if you were to say like variable 1 in the game, it's not going to appear as variable 1. It's going to appear as what the text is defining variable 1 as. So if you were to type variable 1 in there, it's not going to appear, oh, I even typoed that. It's not even going to appear like that. It's going to appear as whatever is in here, between the two entry blocks, diamond blocks, yeah. So between here is whatever is actually appearing in the game, and that text could be pretty much anything. But of course we don't want to name it variable 1, that doesn't really describe it much, and besides, in this custom story main category, the variable set hard-coded into the game is description. So it needs to be named description, and that is going to be the description of the story right here. So let's do, this is the description of the story in the main menu. Like that. Now I'm going to show you a little something later that you can do right here, and right now of course it looks like it split the line, but it didn't really, it just does that. So this is the description of the story. Let me just do that a little bigger. This is the description of the story. So right now I've written the language, category, entry, /category, and /entry. Whenever you open a block, for example language, category, entry, you always need to put the slash version of it, or slash whatever, closing the block basically. Because if you do not close the block, then everything will screw up in this file, so be very careful with that. And whenever you want to add something, usually I just copy this line and paste it in below and then edit it. So I don't have to write this every time, I just copy paste it, and it makes it a lot easier. At least for me, and probably for you too, I don't know, depends on personal preference. But right now I'm going to save the file like that. I'm going to minimize it, and we have it right there. I'm going to see if it works. So let's start up the game. If it does not work, then we will find out what the problem is. Let's see here. Starting up the game, skipping through there. Custom story, tutorial. Alright, it seems to work fine. Now, tutorial by Modbuild right here, this little thing is defined in the custom story settings, so that is not part of the lang file. That is one of the very few things that aren't. But this is the description of the story in the main menu. Exactly what I wrote in that extra English.lang file that we just created. So now if I were to start this map, it does not have anything else in the custom story, or this is the room with all the items, but it doesn't have anything in the extra English.lang. So therefore all of these things are going to appear pretty strangely. It doesn't even have the area right here, so this is basically nothing. The key picked up. It will either say picked up nothing, or it will say picked up whatever the default name of that key is. And since I am running a full conversion mod, that's why it didn't show the default name. But you're probably not running a full conversion mod. Besides, it's not really recommended to run a full conversion mod for custom stories because it changes the game a bit. But anyways, it will probably show up as the default name of that key unless you change it. And for the note, it's going to just be blank. There's no text to be assigned. There's a hint up top, but that's one of the default hints. You can make your own hints if you want to do that. I'm going to make another memento, but I have not scripted that to happen either. I'm going to make a text appear right here and a text appear when you click it. I have remembered to lock the door though, so if I didn't lock the door it would just crash, unless it actually led to anywhere. But right now I'm going to make a message that appears when you click on it as well. But all of these things have not really happened in the map yet, or I haven't made them, so therefore we're going to have to go do that. But first of all, since this video is only extra English.lang, I keep talking really fast sometimes, we're probably going to want to add those. But of course we're going to want to know what to add. So if you, like, at this point you want to add all these things in your game, but you don't exactly know how, like, what do you do? What do you do to add all these things? Well, you're going to need another category, you're going to need another entry. What are these categories and entries going to be named? Well, let's open up the level editor right now and take a look. let's start with the note right here. Click on it. If you go on the entity tab right here, it usually says a few things. Usually at the bottom are the things that are very specific to this particular item So custom sub item type name. I don't think this one is actually relevant to the note because it doesn't really you're not picking up the note in the same way as any other item. So therefore that is never actually displayed, I believe. But the note text, if you hover over it, it will say the text, the name of entry for note. Entry names for these are calculated note underscore plus note text plus underscore name and note underscore note text and underscore text. Stuff like that. So basically what they mean by that, it needs to be a specific format written as the entry to be able to determine it as a note. So we're going to be writing that, and it does not actually mention it right here, I believe, but the category for the notes is required to be journal. It needs to be named journal. So it does say it on the Engine Scripts page if you actually look up on the documentation, but it doesn't say right there. So first of all, what I'm going to do to make this pretty simple is I'm just going to copy everything from the start to the bottom of the category. Copy, paste. So now we have two. And rename it to journal. And I'm going to rename the entry to note underscore note name underscore name. So that is kind of what they said right here, except they said plus note, well, note text actually, but plus note text plus name. So you're not actually going to write those plus and everything like that. They just mean that it's going to add whatever is inside here to the variable name. So you want to add this part as your custom name for the note. So I'm going to call this just test note. You can name it whatever you want, really, and I'm going to call it test note. And whatever you have between the prefix and suffix of this little name right here, variable, you want to put that same name in the note text box right here. Paste. Oh, actually, pasting doesn't work for me. I'm just going to write it. Note test. Or did I do test note? I did test note, didn't I? Test note. Enter. So as long as test note, or whatever you put in there, will match what is between the start and end of this little variable, you do not need to include note underscore test note or any of that. Just include the middle part, and that will link this note to this entry, as long as, of course, the category is set to journal. And then what is between here again, it's not going to be the description of the main menu. This is going to be, this is the note text that appears in the game. And then you can save that and do whatever you want with it. Type whatever note you want in there. If you want another note, copy the entry, paste it below, note underscore note test note 2, and then you write this is another note, whatever. So you want to do that. Now I'm going to keep this one for a little later because we're going to add a memento using it. But mementos are added through script, so they're not done in the level editor, so they're a little different. But we're going to put that aside for now. Let's move over to the key right here. It does not have the note text, but it does have the custom subtype name, sub item type name. Yeah, so hover over there, it says if not empty, it overrides sub item type name in entity file. What they mean by that is in the model editor, if you were to open this, you can find the sub item type name in there, which describes what this item is going to be called. But if this box is filled in, it will override it. If not empty, basically. It's a little weird how they say it like that. It should probably be if filled, it overrides. It's probably a little easier to understand. Alright. So, determines its name and description by putting item desk underscore or item name underscore as prefix for the lang file entry. Category is always inventory. This time it actually says that the category is inventory. So this time we're going to have to create the category inventory. do the same thing as before, just create another category. This time it's going to be named inventory. It's as simple as that. I'm just gonna cut out this. Actually, let's keep this one because we're going to need 2 lines per item. But it's not going to be named note underscore or anything like that. It's going to be named as it says right here, item name underscore. So item name underscore, remember the capitals. And the other one is item desk underscore. Now these are going to be in all the item entries. This is not part of the name, just like the note. You wanted to put what is actually the name after the underscore. So I'm going to call it test item. Test item. Remember to put the same on both of them, or else they won't really know what to link. Now I'm going to put right here just a name. This is test key. You can put whatever name you want in there that is actually appearing in the game. And the description, this is a key used for a door. I'm just going to write something as simple as that. Now, we need to link it just like the notes, so you want to put whatever you put after the underscore in the box right here. Item test. And again, I did the same thing. I did test item. There we go. I'm just more used to actually defining the object before the name. But anyways, just make sure that it is actually the exact same in both of these. So that should make the key and the note work. Now we're gonna do a few things with the door here. I'm gonna go on entity. If you're probably understanding how most of this works by now. So you just read up on what it says and it should tell you exactly what to do. Now, text entry. The text shown when door is in focus. Category is always levels. As simple as that. It tells you exactly what you need to do. Basically, it's just sometimes a little hard to know if you haven't done this before, but as it said, category is always levels. Levels, put that in there. And then the entry name, it does not need an actual suffix or a prefix in this type of entry, so I'm actually going to cut out the whole other part. We just need one, and I'm going to call it just test level. And I'm going to call it test level with a space in here. There's no space in between the variable name. Don't use spaces in variable name or technical things like that, because that could interfere with technical stuff like code and stuff, because it usually splits things. If you put a space, it could think that they're 2 separate objects. So make sure you put the same thing in there as you put in the extra English. Test level. And this time I did not fuck it up. Alright, test level, test level. And here it says what is actually displayed, which is test level with a space. So that is going to appear when the door is in focus. Simple as that. Now, locked text cat. Category of message shown if locked and interacted with. Now, this one actually gives you the option of defining your own category. Now, it doesn't say just entry and then it says category must be levels. Category can be anything here. You just need to define whatever category you make in this box as well. So I'm going to make that custom category. I'm going to call it custom cat levels. Okay. I'm actually going to cut out that line. And I'm going to call it just custom entry level. Custom entry level. Just, I don't know. You can name it pretty much anything you want. Anything that is allowed, of course. Any characters that are allowed, that is. Custom cat levels with an S. And that needs to match the category name, as you can see right there. And locked text entry needs to match the entry within that category. Custom entry level. Like that. And as long as they match, it will display what is between here. And I'm gonna put it to the door is locked, because locked text category, if you hover over it says category, and on the other one entry of a message shown if locked and interacted with. So if you click on it and the door is locked, it's going to display this message. door is locked. Now, let's see what is next. We have done the door now. We have not done the interaction with the key and the door. So that is actually a little scripting part that is required for that. I'm going to do the sign area first. So I'm going to go on area, select sign area, click place, and just put it where I want it to be. Let's just put it there. You can define it more yourself if you want to do that. But basically, you have the sign area right there. Click on it, click on area, and it's very simple, just like the door. Text cat, text entry. And I'm gonna call it the category just custom sign. Well, actually, let's just cut out the custom thing. It's not unnecessary. I'm just call it sign. Sign, like that. The category is sign, and the entry is sign 1. Could just be like that. Paste in that category, or just copy another one and call it sign, or whatever you named it. Cut out that entry and just use the other one, call it sign 1. That is the entry, category and entry. They just need to match like that. And then within here, I'm gonna put what is actually displayed, which is going to be in this case, this is a sign. Obviously. The very obvious, obviously obvious. Obvious. Okay. And now we have done everything that I'm going to do in this map that does not involve scripting. So I'm going to actually jump over to a little bit of scripting. It's very simple scripting, but it's going to basically just trigger how we're going to run these script-sided extra English dependent functions. That was a little weirdly worded, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you understood it, but basically whatever is done in the extra English.lang that is done through scripting, we're going to be doing now. So first of all, I'm going to add the memento when you pick up the key. That's just so I don't have to actually make any other collision check or anything like that. I'm just going to do it when you pick it up, as simple as that. So I'm just going to go on callback function. It says type can be on pickup, break, or on ignite. So that's basically the type. So this callback is called whenever you pick it up. So that is suitable for what I'm going to do here. So I'm just going to type anything, really. You can type whatever you want in here. I'm going to call it pick up key. And that is going to be cited in the script. So you can make a block for this that is going to be ran in the script whenever you pick it up. And then we can put the memento in that script. So let us open up that maps folder, and we don't actually have the test map or the test HPS script file. I have this one for example, but I'm going to actually copy the extra English.lang because it's basically the exact same file. I'm going to paste it in here and rename it test.hps. Now it's changing the extension, so but that doesn't really affect it much. The extension is unnecessary. It's just defining whatever program is gonna open it, but in this case it just kind of describes the file. But so anyways, I'm gonna open it and it's going to have all the text. I'm just gonna remove all that because this script file does not use the same format as the actual English.lang. It doesn't use the diamond brackets. It uses script brackets like parentheses and other brackets, squiggly brackets. Ugh. So let's start with a very simple void pick up key. This name comes directly from the editor that I put in here, and if you hover over it, it says syntax void func string in entity name, string in type. Those are the parameters you want to put in the parentheses. String and in. The and sign is actually not displayed, but you need the and sign and in as entity. The as entity part could be anything really, it's just the alias. And string and in as item. I'm going to open it with squiggly brackets like that. And now we have this little block that is going to rerun whenever we pick up the key. And we're going to run the add quest script. So I'm going to open up Google Chrome and go on the engine scripts. Don't I have it here? Oh, I don't. Engine scripts. It must have disappeared when I reformatted my computer recently. Anyways, this is linked in my description if you want to look at the documentation. I'm gonna Control F quest. Actually, it's right there, but quest. Add quest. This adds a memento. So I'm just gonna add this. I have actually a video dedicated to just this if you want to go more deeply into it. Add quest, string as name, and text entry. It also says right below here the internal name. The internal name has nothing to do with the extraenglish.lang. So I'm just gonna put quotes and call it quest1. That is basically just going to be used whenever you want to complete the quest. You can use complete quest right here, and then you just input string as name, and that will complete it. Now, I don't actually know why the complete quest has a name and entry, because it doesn't make any sense to me why it needs that. Because it should just need the name of the quest to remove. Anyways, for adding a quest, it makes sense because you're gonna need the text for the quest, like the memento. So in this as name and text entry, this is actually appearing in the extraenglish.lang, and as it says, a category must be journal. And this is the same because for notes, diaries, and mementos, they're all in the journal category, and they have to be in the journal category. So the journal category is already created for us, or we've already created it before, so we just need to, whenever we want to add anything within the category journal, do not copy it. Do not make another journal category. Just put more entries within this category. Just put some spaces and copy an entry from anywhere really and paste it in right there. And this time we're going to call it what it says right here, quest underscore text here underscore quest text. Yeah. So instead of note underscore name, oh, and by the way, oh yeah, wait, yeah, it was name. Was it name? Or was it text right here? I don't remember, but it does say in the editor. I just want to make sure I'm not screwing that up. Okay, yeah. I forgot a little something right here. On the note, it has note text and note name as the extension. One of them has to be name, the other one has to be text, and the name has to be the same for both. It's very similar to the item, where the item has a name and a description. The note has a name and a description, and this is actually the description I wanted for the note, so I'm just going to cut that out and paste it in the other one and put in the name. This is going to be test note with the space. Sorry if you didn't get that. It needs to have that so it knows the difference between a name and the text in the note. But anyways, for the actual quest, we're gonna have to put quest underscore, let's put test quest, test quest underscore name, is it? Actually it says right here underscore text. Okay, so this one has to be underscore text. And inside here is going to be what is actually displayed, because mementos don't have names, they just have text. So therefore this one only needs one line of entry. So I'm going to call it this is a random memento. Just like that. Now make sure it has quest underscore first and underscore text at the end, or else it doesn't really know. And then you need to put the whatever is between, just like the note, test note, you put that in the editor. You want to put test quest in the script file. So I'm going to put that in the string for the thingy right there for the script. So that is going to add a quest whenever you pick up the key. Alright. Now there was one more thing that we wanted to do, and that was the use key on the door function and set a message that way. So I'm going to search up here collide, add entity collide. No wait, that was not the it's use item. Oh, use item. There we go. Add use item callback. This is going to allow you to use one item on another item. And add use item, yep, or not another item in your inventory or anything, but another object. So I'm gonna this one has to be actually it could be anywhere. If you put it in the same block here, it will only allow you to use the key after this block has ran. So I'm gonna actually put it in here because I don't want to make an on start, but if you wanted to be able to use this key from the start, just put it in the void on start. But in this case I'm just gonna put it in here. I might as well. Add use item callback, string is name. This is the internal name of the operation or this callback. So if you want to remove the callback so you're no longer able to do this at some point, then you can put in a name there and remove the name, remove the callback at some point later. But I'm going to keep it blank since I'm not going to do that. Now the item needs to be the same item name as what is in the editor. So I'm going to rename this key on the general name. Right now it's key underscore tomb underscore 1. I'm just going to call it key. Simple as that. Key. Now key, it needs to match in both places, and that should work. And the same thing for string as entity. It's another string. It needs to have the name of the door, so I'm going to call it just door. Simple as that. Door. And the function is going to be called, I'm just going to name it whatever I want. Let's call it use key. I'm just going to call it use key. And auto destroy, I'm going to put to true. It basically just allows you to do this only once. Now we need to create the void use key, just like the void pickup we have here. We're going to have to create use key. So I'm just going to do void use key, and we're going to need the parameters that match this function. They are located in the syntax right below where you copied the function from. Right here. String is item, string is entity. I'm going to paste that in right there. Create the brackets for the block, and in here we're going to use the set message. If you search up set message, it's going to give you this. There we go. It's going to give you this line here, which I'm going to copy and put it in there. Set message, string as text category, string as text entry, float ftime. So category, entry, we are familiar with those now. The category is the category, the entry is the entry. The time is just how many seconds it's going to be displayed on the screen. So I'm going to put it to 3 seconds. I think that's the default for most texts that is appeared in game. It's usually 3 seconds. And the category, I'm going to put it to, let's call it just message. Let's call it category message. And the entry, I'm going to call it message 1, just like the sign kind of. So I'm going to copy the sign category and paste it below right here. Rename it to message and rename the entry to message 1. And the text in between, this is a message from the author. I don't know. Alright, so there we go. As long as these match, just be careful to and make sure that everything matches between all of these applications. The level itself, I'm going to save the map by the way, and the script file itself, don't forget to save that as well, and the extra English.lang, you need to save that. So now that we've added all of these things, I'm going to run the game again and let's see if everything works as expected. If anything does not work, we will get that fixed, but it should work, I think. Start it up. It has the description, start. If it does not actually have the description at the very start, that must mean, and you know that it worked before and you haven't done anything to it. If you forgot a /entry or /category anywhere, that will disable the whole file. So if no text is appearing in your game at all, that is likely what has happened. So let's pick up the key. Picked up test key. We also got a memento. If I open that, this is a random memento. If we open up the note, test note up there, this is the note text that appears in the game. That works just as fine. If we open up our inventory, we have test key. It says the name at the bottom. This is a key used for a door, but it's not actually used for this door. So well, that is just what I thought of this, because normally you just, let's use this key on the door. And by the way, as you notice, it says test level hovering in the air right there. Let's use it right there. This is a message from the author. Well, probably a more fitting message would be the key does not fit. Something like that. This is not the right key to use on this door. Let's click on the door. The door is locked. You can also add a locked door sound effect, just like that. And right here it says this is a sign. It's very similar to what is hovering when you hover over there. It says test level, except this one does not. This one has like a built-in sign area and that you can interact through. You can't actually interact through normal sign areas, I think. And this is a sign, obviously, and that is pretty much about it. Test key. This is a key used for the door, and the memento is still there, and everything works fine. Whoa, so that, I believe, should be everything that we were going to do in this video. I'm still going to show you a few small things. Actually, I probably didn't need to actually close the game, but anyways, I have a very few things that I want to just tell you. If you're gonna see it right now, this file has a lot of text, and when you're just looking at it, it's like, ugh, what is this? So what you can do anywhere in this code, if you put / at the start of a line, that line will be counted as a comment, and it will not be read by the engine, so whatever you put after those 2 slashes will be just for personal preference if you want to clean up your file to make it look easier to read or whatever, and that is going to be ignored by the engine, and it does not give you any errors or anything like that. So that's why I'm going to be using that to make it easier to read. So right here I'm just going to put some spaces in between and do // let's call it journal category in all caps, just so it still is not very visible, so therefore I'm going to add a lot more slashes to it. I'm just going to add a bunch of slashes around it, and just like this, and some slashes at the end of it. So now that I've covered this in slashes, the slashes don't do anything if there's nothing before them, so therefore you can use this as kind of like a banner. That's what I use, like a header, a title. So this is going to describe, this is the journal category, and then when this category ends right here, I'm going to do the exact same thing right here, except this time I'm going to call it the inventory category. I'm going to put a few slashes just to match it up so it looks nicer. Inventory category, just like that. We can copy that under here as well. And this is the levels category. Levels category. Let's remove a few slashes to match it up. And as you can see now, it's well, I think it's a lot easier to read. So basically what you just need to scout upon when you're surfing through this file, just look for, whenever you want to add a note, just look for journal category. Then you know that this is where you want to add the note. And when you want to add the note in the game, you just copy another note that you have, copy it, paste it below, and name it something different, only name the middle part, and then put another text in here, and remember to add that thing in the level as well. So yes. Now the example file that I uploaded has these little banners, so I've already made a few for you. You can use that if you want to, and that should be pretty much about it. There was one thing that I just wanted to show you, just a little quick tip for the notes and mementos and description actually. Let's do it in the description. If you want to do a break, you want to do enter, for example, like you want to put some space between your lines, you cannot do that here. Putting a space doesn't do anything. Space doesn't do anything pretty much unless you put it like in the middle of a variable, then it's going to split it up and it's going to error, but spaces normally don't do anything. It's not space dependent in here. So if you want to break the line and make some space, you want to do square brackets BR. And doing square brackets BR is another code for break, which is just going to break the line pretty much. And if you put that one, I'm going to put 3 of them, BR, BR, BR. And then I'm going to put some other text. Save that. And that is going to add 3 empty lines to the little description or the text or whatever. You can do this in pretty much any... I haven't actually tried, like in the item name, I haven't tried that, but see, as you can see, it now breaks the line right there to go there, breaks it again to go there, and breaks it again to go to the third line where it actually writes the text. So it puts some empty space in between there, which can look nice in certain situations. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the end of this video. So I have now pretty much explained what I think I can explain about this file. There's not really that much to it, and that is pretty much about it for this file altogether. And of course, if you do need any more help, feel free to ask me anything, and I will try to explain further anything else. But I think I explained pretty much everything I know, and everything you need to know about this file. So hopefully that was enough to get you going with it. And whenever, if you were to watch any of my other videos and we use the extraenglish.lang, then hopefully you actually now understand what we're doing if you didn't before. So yeah, this is the example file, and if I open it, it has a little different kind of banners, but they look like that. You can download that if you wish in my description. And other than that, that is the end of the video. I will thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, shape or form, I would really appreciate if you would like the video. I put a lot of effort into this one, or a lot of speech rather. It's like an hour or something, I think. Yeah, that should be it. And now I'm going to rest my throat from, never mind that. So yeah, I will thank you for watching, and I will see you later.